Hey, this is Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. I wanted to do a quick video of the storage for all of my inks and markers. For the markers, I only had to buy the 5 new in colors for this year and swap out for the old in colors. So I do want to show what it looks like if you've ever pondered buying the Stampin' Up markers. I have the full set. When you get the set, you have to adjust the packaging because it is not meant for a full 10 in colors. We cycle through 10 in colors each year. One is incoming, one is outgoing. So what I've done is added, you only have at the very bottom here 7 extra slots. So I went ahead and made 3 more, which is just a piece of cardstock, white, slid right on in for the 3 extras. You're probably asking yourself, well, if you have all of these blank ones, but there's not a full 10, are there enough slots? So let's take a look. So you actually do not get enough slots for both of your in colors. So you also don't get any for extras, and I do own 1 extra black. When I teach classes, I have a beginner's class that I teach that shows all the wonderful ways you can use the waterfront style stamps to make any designs you want, and you write your sentiments. So that's why I have a couple of these black markers. And then I have I've already put in the new in colors, and if I fill all of the slots up, then what I do is I just slide the extras in between the rows, and they fit on each, the middle, so you basically only have room for 2 more rows of extra pens. So I wanted to show that because that's pretty important. And then the case that this all goes in is a plastic case that has a handle. And I will put these in. Because of the handle, you do have to, when you put it in, watch for these black extra lumpy things that stick in that hold the handle in place. So here I go. You probably can't see all of this. So it just slides in. Then you can snap it closed. Where this fits in my trailer, I have a shelf that all of my stamps fit below the shelf, and all of my inks and my markers, the Stampin' Up markers, fit up top. So this is what it looks like, and this is how I can read which ones, but I have all of them. So I don't really use this list all that often unless I want to get a name ahead of time. The next thing I want to talk about, now that we're done with the Stampin' Up markers, let's stick with the dye inks. All of my I'm just saying that I'm looking at this. This should actually say 2019. So that's why I paused. I must have done that wrong last year. And these boxes have been used now for 3 years. They get bounced around in the trailer in the storage right next to where I have these. Like I said, they're fitting on a fairly narrow shelf up tall in the trailer. They get very hot and very cold with the weather, and they have done really well. Now these containers I picked because they're so narrow, and I only have the spots sized inks. I do not have the full-size ink pads. I don't think I have any ink pads at all. I have a few packed away, and of course I've been on the road 3 years now, so let's say by the time I'm done traveling, which who knows, we don't even have an end in sight, the ink pads that I do have probably will either be retired or maybe dried out. Who knows? So what I do with all of my inks every color family gets a shape. And that makes it very easy for me to put items back in their locations. So like all of the hearts or the brights, the regals. Yeah, so, and I even put my labels roughly in the area. Like this, I could have done vertically because I put these 4 now, and so I should, so you get 24 per case. So there's a total of 48 slots. So this is not enough for all of the inks. Plus there are special inks that come and go, which you'll see in a moment. So the biggest thing is I bought bands that are like horses braiding bands for braiding the mane and for showing. They're just little black bands, and I did not buy them at the tack store. I actually bought them at the dollar store. So for $1, I got like 250 bands. That keeps these, I have had on occasion, very rarely, but once or twice it has happened that we've jostled enough in a long trek from here to there, and stuff does fall out. The cabinets are pretty secure. This trailer actually more secure than the old trailer. But once in a while, we have something that, you know, if I'm backing in and I'm backing up a hill and around a bend, sometimes these can fall out. And I didn't have them banded together. And this, even if you have this case closed with a large rubber band, I still felt that I should do the individual banding. So I have done that. And then these regular bands will go. Right now I'm using them, so I have them off, but they will. So these are like double, triple protected. All right. And like I said, I go ahead and do the name. I stamp a solid and a silhouette. I mean a silhouette and an outline. That's what I'm trying to say. And I try to keep each family having their own design. In this case, for whatever reason, I didn't pick the same image because the dotted or outline version didn't exist for the leaf. And then even down here, I had just finished creating the images for the neutrals, and they were these 2 leaves. And then like 3 months later, we had a revamp of the color completely. So I had to introduce these 4 colors, and the leaves were gone. I had retired them. I even think I might have borrowed them at a retreat. I'm trying to think back. And so I had to come up with a new strategy. So it has worked okay to have the neutrals be basically leafy looking. And so there's 4 of the in colors. These are the 2019 in colors, even though, yes, it says 2020. And then I have in this particular box the brights, and I see they're kind of mixed up. So brights and neutrals, or subtles. Subtles are flowers, elephants for the brights. And then over here I have there were metallics in the holiday catalog. And this is Purple Posy, which I had to replace. I actually gave one of them away and now am replacing it, and I haven't redone the stamp or the label on it. So I need to get that done. But I did. That only accounts for 1 set of in colors. This is really the 2020 to 2022 in colors, and it includes the basics, and I picked bows. And I haven't grabbed the bands yet to band them, but the other thing that I do is if the tops come off completely like they do, and they get mixed up, and you have, say, Magenta Madness and Mango Melody, or Melon Mambo, I should say. For Melon Mambo, you can't really tell the difference. So I have now taken to labeling the sides. And for the in colors, I go ahead and label which in color they live with. And then in the basics, I have my, these are the old archival basics. And the basic black is now replaced with tuxedo black. So I have a tuxedo black, an archival basic black, archival basic gray, white, and what's usually in here, but I've taken to leaving it on my desk because I use it so often, is a Versamark and my extra tuxedo black. So this is what it looks like. Oh, and it stays on. So this is all filled up. Now, one of the things I've noticed with this case style is the height of the walls are taller than these cases. And so I really have to be careful and get bands on all of these. I haven't traveled, I just received these a couple days ago and we're not traveling till the 23rd. So I have till the 23rd to find my black bands, get them out, and get all these banded up. Okay, so that takes care of the Stampin' Write markers and the dye inks. And now I want to share how I've stored my blends, which are an alcohol marker. And what I want to do is, I need more height here. I'm going to move you farther away. And bring up my case. Now, I am a Copic marker coloring person. I have taken classes. I have colored with alcohol markers for many years now. I have my Copic marker collection, which is a subset of my original collection that I had before we had an accident where we lost everything. And I only replaced, if there's 346 colors or so, I only replaced, I think, 180. I picked colors for specific tasks geared toward coloring book coloring, which is what I enjoy doing with my Copic markers. And then the blends came out right after our accident. So it made me decide to collect two different sets of markers, one for coloring, big coloring projects, and then the Stampin' Up! Blends are used for crafting and paper crafting. So you'll see in this case, these black cases are Copic cases that I bought at a garage sale years ago. And the pink case is a case that I carried, and when I used to design ornaments and bling to go on bags and shirts and hoodies and all that. So these pink, I have two of them. They house all of my markers. This one is all of the blends. I've collected every one of them. They're sorted by color. And they have some dots that I'll talk about. And then I have all of the neutral or the lightest color range. That is the one thing about the Stampin' Up! Colors that I miss, is the lights. They go very good into the darks. And I had to pull out all of my light Copics, ranging from the different color tones, all the lights, and then also pulled a few of the grays. So now let's talk about the pink dots. Mean they're retired, and I own every one of the blends. And then these two sets we just had, these are new for this annual catalog, and Magenta Madness is MA, and Mango Melody is ME. So that's to help me keep these straight at a glance, rather than having to pull them out and read what is on them. This is Melon Mambo. Oh, I said it wrong. Melon Mambo. I keep saying Mango Melody. Melon Mambo and Magenta Madness. The other thing that I do that I have to finish up updating is if I'm going to a retreat or a stamping event or crafting with a friend, and we both have the blends. This is something I picked up long ago for Copic markers. You add some washi to designate them as yours so that you don't inadvertently end up with someone else's marker. And I've had that happen also with my scissors. So the scissors also have a marker. In fact, there was this same washi was around one of the the finger loops, and it is now gone. But my markers, and I try to use gold on everything, as you can see, to mark them. So I highly recommend, if you do events and you're collecting markers, make sure you color, you somehow designate the markers as yours, so that here's the same gold stripe is on the Copic markers. So all of my markers except the brand new ones, there were 4 brand new ones. So like here's the cinnamon cider, I haven't put the washi on. So I need to round up my bands for my spots and round up my washi for my markers to get them all colored. And these dots I actually use on all my stamps as well. Pink, for everything I own, a pink dot means retired. An orange dot means it's a stamp, a yellow dot means it's a die, and green means it's a bundle. So I like that I can use the retired dot for any of my retired items. In this case, I actually use some mono glue. These are repositionable dots, so they only stay on so long. So to help make sure that they don't get lost and fall off, I went ahead and glued them all. And they do seem, so far I've done some testing, and they still feel like they are stuck pretty good. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to know where I got something, or where I think you could maybe find, like the Copic bags you can find on eBay, and they're not very expensive. I think they have discontinued, the company who does the Copics has discontinued that style of bag, because mine are quite old. They're maybe 10 years old now. And there's something new out there, I'm sure. So feel free to add your comments or questions for the different storage things that I do. And, you know, all of my cases, like even this case is all worn, because they travel with me everywhere I go. And so oops, my ladybug jumped on there. So, you know, if you're traveling, the things that I'm showing you are the things that I do to make sure that my crafting supplies stay secure while we're traveling. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about traveling and crafting. And hopefully this will help you. Thanks for watching.